Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me for another episode here of the Mommy Podcast. We're getting into postpartum recovery today. We're getting into the timeline it actually takes to recover from postpartum. If you are in the postpartum period and you're wondering, why the heck do I not feel like myself at 6 weeks? Well, you are not alone. And 6 weeks is way off. The industry standard, as we know it, is not correct. So I'm getting into that today and going to share 2 ginormous studies with you and a little bit of personal story like I always do. So let's get into it. Okay, so starting out right away with the BBC, they did a study on pregnancy and postpartum dynamics via lab tests. And the postpartum dynamics were revealed via all these lab tests. This was from March 2025. And biologists at the Weizmann Institute of Science and Helen Schneider Women's Hospital and Yale University School of Medicine all came together to do this study. And so from these 300,000 healthy births, they ran 76 types of tests, maternal tests on the mother. So these tests were measuring cholesterol, blood, immune cells, inflammation, the health of the liver, the kidneys, the bones, so much more. So from these women, the study was a massive study from 2003 to 2020. And like I just said, the study came out in 2025. So they compiled data from the time span of 2003 to 2020, which is massive. And if you take those numbers, 300,076 types of tests over that amount of time, that is 44 million individual measurements. So just a wealth of information to track on, how postpartum bodies are changing on a weekly basis. And are you ready for it? Okay, so this is what they found. What they found was 47%, so less than half, their health markers stabilized within 1 month of delivery. So less than half. Another 12% of those health markers settled between 4 to 10 weeks of delivery. And 41% took more than 10 weeks to stop fluctuating. And this is not how your mental health and all this stuff is feeling. However, it has a direct correlation because everything that's going on in your body plays a huge part into how your mind is functioning. I do really believe that. So if your health markers are still fluctuating and all over the map, and this is, your iron, your clotting factors, your liver, your bone health, if they're still fluctuating at 10 weeks, no wonder you're not feeling like yourself. And you have your 6-week checkup and you're going, oh boy, I think I'm okay. And you go home going, no, I don't really feel like I'm well, So the longest leg that they found was liver and bone health, the last 2 that I mentioned, and they stabilized at 56 weeks postpartum, your liver and your bone health. 56 weeks. So if you are jumping into exercise and you are thinking, I don't have the strength, or you're just not feeling like yourself, your internals, your liver is not stabilized until 56 weeks. Mind-blowing. Awesome study. Loved reading that. Such a wealth of information. And I mean, there is so much more. I had to really peel back the information that I wanted to include in here, or I would just be referencing the study for an hour. So go check that one out if you're interested in it. BBC Pregnancy and Postpartum Dynamics Revealed via Lab Tests. Awesome study. Now, I just wanted to mention, why am I even doing this episode? Well, textbooks think that postpartum is 6 weeks. At 6 weeks, you are back to you. And I have heard from many other mothers saying, it took me 3 years. I feel like 3 years down the road, I'm finally feeling like myself again. And like I said before, I feel there's a direct correlation with your inside and your mind. So, the body-mind connection, if things are not regulated and how they were before, in a sense, at 6 weeks, and it really does take years, well, then there has to be studies that are showing that this does, in fact, take years. And ta-da! I found them. And I found a resounding amount of studies that said this takes years. So if you are in that period right now, maybe you have just given birth, maybe you are 6 weeks, maybe you're 10 weeks, maybe you're a year and a half, and you don't really feel like yourself again. You feel like you're having a lot of conflicting feelings and emotions on who you are and how you are recovering and, this new feeling of, is this my new normal? It is not. You're getting there. It takes time, and it takes a long time, a lot longer than you think. Okay, so getting into another study, and then I'm getting into more of an article. So another study from the EJOG, the European Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology and Reproductive Biology, put out a study in 2005, August of 2005, of 1,117 women that were postpartum. And they wanted to see if traditional recovery timelines were underestimated. And traditional recovery timelines are 6 weeks. 6 weeks, you get the clear from your doctor, you are good to go, you are recovered, is what the standard is. No, ma'am, you are not. So what they looked at with these 1,117 women postpartum was for the first 3 to 6 months, so going well beyond that 6 weeks, they did a self-reported survey study of, we want you to self-report your physical, your mental, your sexual, and your resumption of physical domains. So those 4 domains, how are you feeling physically, mentally, sexually, functionally with your daily activities, your resumption of your function, essentially. How are you feeling? 43% of women said they felt fully recovered in all 4 domains at 15 weeks. So they went through and they found the median of when people were starting to say, yes, I'm feeling fully recovered. 15 weeks, more than double the industry standard of 6, okay? Now, it was fastest for functional and daily activities and the slowest for sexual resumption of sexual function. And when they were talking about sexual function, I mean, I could go down a rabbit hole with this, but they were talking about the feeling, your libido, all of the things, your ability to get turned on, the way your body works, how you're used to it working, took the longest to resume. And as I said before, everything that's going on inside is connected to your mental, and things take time. So yeah, that was another super interesting study, and loved reading that because, again, the median for 1,000 women, over 1,000 women, was 15 weeks. Way longer than 6. Okay, now getting into an article. I like to throw in different things so they're not just all super dry publications and studies. I mean, the statistics are out there, they're interesting, but they can also be kind of boring. So Paige Bellenbaum is the founding director of the Motherhood Center in New York. And in February of 2025, she put out an article, which is not too long ago, saying that postpartum recovery may take 2 years. Whoa, 2 years. I have heard 2, I've heard 3. And this was another comprehensive survey that she did from her center in the Motherhood Center. So she said when children are walking, talking, they're developing personalities, they are becoming more independent. This is at the 2-year mark. And in 2 years, mothers have developed this stronger sense of confidence and trust in their abilities to mother, but also in their child's resilience. So how I read that is your child is more aware of the things that can hurt and kill them. And, they're not looking for a battery to put in their mouth or trying to crawl down the stairs head first, that kind of thing. So you have more trust in their abilities and their judgment, their resilience. Now, what she also says was a woman who was organized, spontaneous, in control, confident, that had a strong sense of mastery, in your personal and your professional areas. If that was you, this might be you post-baby. You may now feel overwhelmed. You may now feel anxious. You may feel sad, regretful, like a failure, and longing for the woman that you were. You can be feeling any of those feelings I just mentioned, anywhere up to the 2-year mark. And I agree with that. I do agree with that completely. I feel like it takes a long time to recover. In my personal journey, I feel that, where you just kind of feel that spark, that flutter of, this is how I think, this is how I dream, and I meditate, and I plan, and I feel my sense of calm, and all of the things that make you feel like you. I do feel like that takes years to get back. Now, there was another study in here which made me feel like I should write a whole nother episode on this factor, because it's not something I included in here. This was the postpartum recovery of the body. Now, the mind, the postpartum depression that can happen. I read multiple studies that said that can take up to 3 years. So another additional year longer than your physical to get your mental health back. So if you are suffering from postpartum depression, there is another year along to that that 2-year physical recovery for you to be feeling like yourself. And that's a whole nother episode. I just wanted to throw that in there if that is something that you are dealing with, if you are in that position. 3 years. Give yourself some grace. So that was a lot of information. That was a lot of studies. And I just wanted to say, if you are feeling a little unlike you are confident. Just remember that. She's there. She's taken her time and it will level out. Just take care of yourself. If you can eat well, exercise, meditate, journal, do the things that you enjoy that are good for you and they're good for others. Please remember you are strong and this is all part of your very unique and powerful journey into motherhood. And there is no one quite like you. There is no journey that is quite like yours. And lean into that. I hope this episode gives you a little bit of peace and allows you to have a little bit of grace with yourself in realizing that it takes a long time. So if you're not quite feeling like yourself yet, keep doing the good things. Keep an eye on that timeline. Don't rush yourself and know that it is coming. You will get there. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this episode gave you something good. And I will talk to you in the next episode. Continue doing what you're doing. Continue doing the good things, and good things will start to flow. Talk to you soon.